In the beginning, there was only darkness, and the world lay untouched by memory. Wind scraped across barren rock, and distant thunder rolled through empty valleys, speaking in a language no living ear could hear. Before history, before storytellers, Earth moved through ages unseen. And so, the question rises like an omen. What if our greatest stories happened before we could remember them? Here, we step into deep time, where silence ruled, and the planet waited for the first fragile spark of human awareness, a stage awaiting minds to awaken. Before memory began, the Earth moved through vast stretches of time in which countless species rose, flourished, and disappeared without leaving a single recorded thought. Volcanic plains glowed under newborn skies, continents drifted like slow giants, and early hominins walked these shifting worlds unaware that their footsteps would one day vanish. Human history, as we measure it, is only a thin layer atop this immense buried past. Without language to hold their stories, these ancient worlds faded, leaving behind fragments for us to uncover and wonder about as we search for meaning in their silence. Across a planet ruled by ice and shifting drought, the earliest humans struggled to survive in a world that offered little mercy. Towering predators stalked the plains, and every migration was a gamble against hunger and cold. Tools were shaped from desperation, fire guarded like a sacred lifeline. Their existence hung by a thread, so fragile that one violent storm or eruption could erase an entire lineage. In their shadows, we see how narrowly humanity escaped oblivion before memory, culture, or identity could truly begin in the ancient world itself. In this moment, the story shifts as archaeologists stumble upon clues that seem far too old to fit within our familiar timeline. Footprints pressed into ancient ash appear thousands of years earlier than expected. Carvings hint at symbolic minds long before such expression should have existed. Stone tools lie buried in layers where no human hands should yet be found. Each discovery sparks new questions, suggesting hidden chapters in our past. And soon, a startling possibility emerges. Entire cultures or unknown species may have risen and vanished before civilization even began. As the climax unfolds, the Earth reveals itself as the greatest storyteller, shaping a montage of glaciers swallowing valleys and mammoth hunters moving across frozen plains. Extinct creatures roam through vanished ecosystems, their lives preserved only in fragments of bone and buried pollen. Fossils and strands of ancient DNA act like whispers from ages erased. And when these images fade, one question lingers. If so much has disappeared without witnesses, what else waits beneath soil, ice, or sea, still pleading to be found by those who seek Earth's hidden stories? At the dawn of humanity, we witness rugged hands shaping crude tools, eyes glowing beside trembling firelight, and silhouettes drifting across ancient grasslands. Yet a quiet revelation settles in. These figures are not Homo sapiens. They are our precursors, distant cousins who walked the earth long before our story began. We see mothers soothing restless infants, hunters moving patiently through tall grass, and small groups sharing warmth around fragile flames. Their world is raw, wild, and uncertain, but their gestures feel strikingly familiar. In their movements, we recognize the earliest echoes of ourselves, living beings striving to endure and belong in a land shaped by relentless change and silent skies. Across the deep past, early human relatives built entire worlds with nothing but their hands and their resilience. Homo erectus shaped sharper tools and ranged widely across shifting continents. On remote Flores Island, tiny Homo floresiensis thrived in isolation. In winding cave systems, Homo naledi endured darkness with remarkable cooperation. High in unforgiving mountains, Denisovans adapted to thin air, while Neanderthals mastered the frozen plains of Europe. Each species carved a life of hunting mammoths, shaping spear points, tending to the injured, and honoring their dead. As climates shifted violently, they endured with ingenuity and quiet determination that kept their fragile worlds alive despite odds. As the planet descended into relentless glacial cycles, survival grew uncertain for every hominin that walked the Earth. Food thinned, oceans retreated, and migration paths shifted without warning. Neanderthals honed powerful close-range hunting to face towering Ice Age beasts, while Homo erectus pushed across vast continents in search of safer ground. Denisovans navigated brutal mountain ranges, and tiny Homo floresiensis relied on creativity to endure isolated island life. Blizzard winds, collapsing herds, and perilous journeys across frozen plains revealed how fragile existence truly was. Each day demanded cooperation, ingenuity, and endurance simply to stay alive. The turning point comes when Homo sapiens finally meets these ancient cousins on cold plains and forest edges. What began as a mystery becomes clear through the secrets of ancient DNA. We did not walk separate paths, we interbred. Neanderthals and Denisovans are not lost branches, but living threads woven into us, traits that help us fight disease, withstand high altitudes, or even process emotion traced back to them. Early encounters carried tension and wonder as two intelligent species observed, learned, and merged. Humanity's origin becomes a braided lineage, shaped not by isolation, but by shared survival. As Homo sapiens spread across continents, other hominin species slowly slipped into extinction. Neanderthals vanished from Europe's frozen plains, Denisovans survived only as faint genetic echoes, and tiny Homo floresiensis fell after a violent eruption. Deep caves hold the last bones of Homo naledi. Their end came not through conquest, but through climate change, dwindling habitats, and fragile populations collapsing over time. Yet they are not entirely gone. Their DNA remains in millions today, and their brief, resilient lives remind us that we are only the latest chapter in a far older human story told. The chapter opens with a sweeping descent into a desert excavation where drifting sand is brushed aside to reveal faint outlines of walls, hearths, and ancient stone circles. These are not ordinary ruins, but remnants of cultures that thrived thousands of years before writing existed. Here, the film reminds us that civilization did not suddenly appear in Mesopotamia or Egypt. Long before, early humans were experimenting with architecture, ritual, and symbolic meaning. Their quiet settlements once echoed with shared beliefs and celebrations. These forgotten pioneers built the first frameworks of human community long before history learned to speak to us. The story shifts to ancient sites that overturn our assumptions: Göbekli Tepe rising with towering pillars, Nabta Playa marking the stars in the Sahara, and drowned coastal settlements lying hidden beneath modern seas. These communities appear as bold innovators, building ceremonial spaces and mapping the heavens without metal tools or domesticated animals. Season after season, hunter-gatherers return to raise sanctuaries, trading ideas, sharing food, and weaving shared myths. Their achievements reveal an astonishing truth. Monumental architecture and organized ritual life existed long before agriculture. These forgotten societies shaped their world through imagination, cooperation, and a deep spiritual bond with the landscape itself in every passing season. In this chapter, spiritual vision begins to take physical shape. As early communities turn belief into architecture, we see groups hauling massive stones across open plains, raising the first temples with determination and shared purpose. Symbols are carved into rock, their meanings long forgotten, but their intention unmistakable. Proto-cities emerge not through kings or orders, but through cooperation, people pooling labor, planning seasonal building, and forming new communal identities. Migration networks carry ideas across continents, spreading stonecraft, astronomy, and ritual. The world grows interconnected, alive with movement, as humanity edges toward the first organized civilizations poised to transform the planet. The turning point strikes without warning as climate chaos reshapes entire landscapes. Glaciers retreat and flood coastlines, while mega-droughts drain once fertile basins to cracked earth. Violent storms rip through early settlements, leaving archaeological layers filled with abandoned hearths and shattered tools. Sand buries temples, rising seas swallow coastal homes. Families flee shrinking lakes and dying rivers, forced to leave behind generations of work. These collapses occur long before writing, becoming geological whispers rather than remembered tragedies. Cultural memory vanishes in moments erased not by conflict, but by a shifting earth. Today, the resolution unfolds as archaeologists kneel in dust, mud, and seawater, lifting fragments of forgotten worlds from the ground. A carved stone surface, a crumbled hearth, a buried pathway. Each piece hints at lives once full of purpose and meaning. Though incomplete, these remains reveal artistry, ambition, and unmistakable humanity. These people dreamed as we do. They built, worshipped, celebrated, and mourned. Their civilizations left no written record, yet their foundations and star-aligned structures endure. And with every discovery comes the bittersweet truth that entire chapters of human brilliance rose and vanished before history learned to write. The chapter opens with a blazing meteor ripping across a prehistoric sky, its fire trailing shadows over ancient valleys and trembling mountains. In that instant, the world feels fragile, shaken by forces far beyond anything life can control. The narrator reminds us that long before humans emerged, Earth destroyed and rebuilt itself again and again. Asteroid impacts dimmed the sun, supervolcanoes filled the air with choking ash, and sudden climate shifts transformed green forests into frozen wastelands. Entire ecosystems vanished, only for new ones to rise. These cataclysms set the tone, revealing that the world we inherited was shaped through endless cycles of ruin and rebirth. As the story intensifies, we witness the chain reactions that each catastrophe sets in motion. Volcanic ash spreads like a dark shroud over continents, blocking sunlight and plunging temperatures in weeks. Oceans grow acidic, coral reefs bleach and collapse, and ancient herds starve as plants wither away. Forests burn, rivers shrink, and coastlines shift under rising or retreating seas. In this chaos, early humans and their ancestors cling to survival, scattered in small, fragile groups. Drought, famine, and sudden climate swings press against them relentlessly. The planet feels unpredictable and indifferent, favoring only those species able to adapt, cooperate, and endure. Through their struggle, humanity's future hangs by a thread. The turning point arrives with the Toba supereruption, one of the most powerful volcanic events in 2 million years. Around 74,000 years ago, it hurled ash across continents, dimming the sun and plunging the world into a volcanic winter. Crops failed before they could grow. Animals starved, and famine swept across every region humans inhabited. Genetic evidence suggests our population may have fallen to only a few thousand, an edge so narrow our species nearly vanished. Yet in this silence, something new began. Struggle forced deeper cooperation, better tools, and shared knowledge. From catastrophe emerged the first sparks of modern human ingenuity. The climax unfolds with the Younger Dryas, a sudden return to Ice Age cold around 12,800 years ago. Some scientists propose a comet or shattered meteor struck Earth, igniting wildfires, flooding coasts, and driving temperatures downward within years. Whether caused by cosmic impact or natural forces, the consequences were immense. Megafauna died out, ecosystems shifted, and early human groups confronted abrupt scarcity. Communities that once flourished were pushed to migrate, innovate, or collapse. This global upheaval forms the thin dividing line between the Paleolithic world and the dawn of settled civilization, revealing how the planet can transform. In the end, we reflect on the scars these ancient disasters left behind. Each upheaval, whether an asteroid strike, a crushing ice age, or a massive eruption, reshaped life on Earth, carving new evolutionary paths and sweeping aside once dominant species. Humanity rose not in spite of destruction, but because of the pressures it created. As the narrator walks past layers of rock marked by ash and impact debris, these silent witnesses reveal how catastrophe forced our ancestors to adapt, migrate, and imagine new ways to survive. The chapter closes with a reminder: Earth's greatest devastations helped forge our resilience and our rise. A single hand brushes the rough surface of an ancient stone, and for a moment, time folds in on itself. This simple gesture becomes a bridge, linking our present lives to eras that vanished long before history learned to speak. The narrator reflects on a profound truth. Humanity carries echoes of forgotten worlds within its very being. These traces live not only in ruins and broken artifacts, but in our myths, our rituals, our genes, and the mysterious alignments of monuments whose builders remain unknown. Countless cultures and landscapes disappeared before writing existed, yet their influence endures quietly. The human story, we realize, includes everything we inherited without ever remembering. As the narrative rises, we explore how early humans transformed the chaos around them into stories that could be carried through generations. Flood myths echo memories of melting ice sheets and rising seas. Sky gods descending resemble the fiery shock of meteor impacts. Deities wielding fire mirror volcanic eruptions that once reshaped entire landscapes. Ancestor spirits guiding journeys reflect ancient migrations through harsh terrain. These myths, repeated around countless fires, became emotional anchors in uncertain times. Wrapped in symbolism, they preserved fragments of real disasters and celestial events. Mythology, in this light, becomes humanity's oldest memory, truth encoded long before writing was born. The turning point comes when the narrative shifts from ancient stories to modern discovery. Archaeologists now recover genomes of long-lost hominin species, revealing unexpected branches of our ancestry. Marine explorers dive beneath rising seas to chart drowned coastlines where communities once thrived. From above, satellites scan deserts and jungles, uncovering buried cities and forgotten roads. Each find breathes life into people long reduced to silence, transforming shadows into real participants in our shared past. The emotional weight is profound. Every artifact, every genome, every submerged ruin helps rebuild a world that existed before memory, granting the voiceless a rightful place in humanity's unfolding story for all who seek to remember. At this climax, all threads of the narrative pull together. Our genetic inheritance from extinct hominins, the remnants of civilizations drowned by shifting seas, and the cataclysms that once redirected human destiny. A sweeping montage reveals striking parallels between myth and science, linking forgotten worlds to the people we are today. The narrator reminds us that humanity is shaped not only by what survived, but also by everything lost. Our resilience, creativity, and imagination rise from these unseen histories. Humanity becomes a vast tapestry woven from countless vanished chapters, stories erased by nature or time, yet still echoing quietly within us in every generation that follows. At dusk, the narrator walks across a quiet landscape, wind stirring through the tall grass like a whisper from ancient times. They reflect on a simple, powerful truth. The earth remembers everything. Its memories lie etched in stone layers, fossil beds, drowned coastlines, and even in our genes. Each discovery reveals pieces of who we are, our shared beginnings, our fragility, and our remarkable will to survive. As the light fades, a final question drifts through the air. What else waits to be remembered? The world darkens, leaving us humbled, curious, and aware of mysteries still hidden beneath our feet.